My guest today is John Trobough, president of Narus. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
John, give us a brief history of Narus.
Narus as a company has been around for 10 plus years. It's a company that has some deep roots in looking at network traffic information, primarily back in the early days when deep packet inspection was thought to be a booming industry. And from there became very adept at understanding networks behavior, and packets and metadata information that transverses over networks. And today it's a company that focuses on data analytics, focusing on rich metadata out of the network and really applying that to cyber.
And at one point, Narus was acquired by Boeing, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So one of the first, and oddly to me, few acquisitions from the defense aerospace business.
Yeah, Boeing acquired Narus a little less than 3 years ago, and I think they've been very pleased with the acquisition, and we've been very fortunate to have a parent such as Boeing. They allow us to really focus on innovating, and our charter, as much as it's about advancing the commercial business, if you will, it's equally as important that we advance the overall cyber agenda. And how do we innovate and define and solve problems that have yet to even been thought about? Some of the things that we're showing here at RSA are technologies and machine learning algorithms that have been in work for over 5 years. And Boeing gives us the freedom and the flexibility to really innovate and try to change the industry, quite frankly.
Let's talk about this now booming industry of security analytics, and usually based off of network captured traffic. What gives, and Narus was one of the early players, what gives you the competitive advantage today?
Well, I think data analytics is going to happen. You know, it's interesting. Everyone talks about the Internet of Things. They talk about BYOD. They talk about what's the definition of a network border as it is today. You talk about that there's more data out there than people can actually sift through. But then when you get into the software and you start to look at the solutions that are out there, how many companies actually understand how to do that and what data analytics mean? I think with Narus, what we've been able to do is marry up, one, that we understand packets or network behavior, if you will, with advanced data scientists in machine learning. It's not scalable to store all packets out of a network environment, particularly with all the explosion of data that there is today. The real art is understanding what to use out of the packets to get to the answers that you need. And then I think the other thing too is to focus more proactively on thinking ahead on where things are going or where the attacks might come from, and how do you accelerate time to resolution, which is another one that's a bit of it can be an overused buzzword we'll hear a lot here at RSA this year. But the reality is that getting ahead of that curve through advanced data analytics and correlating information from the source as opposed to correlating other people's events, I think is a unique differentiator for Narus.
Give us some examples of how your customers have used Narus to help them with their security.
Well, I think for us, we talk a lot about accelerating time to resolution, and we talk about the concept of contextualization. And contextualization to us is correlation of information. We've got some unique algorithms in our software platform that allow us to identify both mobile and network applications in real time as they're transversing through a network. We can parse that information as well. The simple fact that we can do that gives us a broader visibility to network traffic and behavior than anything else that's out there. So as a result, the types of analytics that we produce and being able to get to the root cause of an incident is much faster, it's much richer in information. We talk about it in terms of contextualization of the problem, but really what we're talking about is correlating massive amounts of information from the lower layers of layer 2 up through layer 7 and presenting that information in a way that's visually consumable. It's the other challenge. Everyone talks about data, data, data. There's so much data, analysts today can't sift through it. If you do not understand how to do good visualization, if you aren't applying the ideas of cognitive research to how it is you design and build your visualization, you're also not addressing the problem. So for Narus, I think customers value the fact that we offer an end-to-end solution. We generate the metadata and we present the metadata as well as the answers.
What does a deployment look like? Is it multiple sensors and a management console?
It can be multiple sensors. It could be depending upon the amount of storage you need. We have both real-time processing of data for true streaming analytics at line speed, but we also do traditional Hadoop batch-based analytics as well. And then I think there's the correlation engine, which is where all the secret sauce for the machine learning, a lot of the algorithms sits, and ultimately the visualization and how to take complex problems and present them in the simplest way.
Is there anyone who's using Narus capabilities in the cloud? You know, with they're using software-defined networking, and they're actually doing networking in the cloud.
Yeah, we've not deployed Narus's product in the cloud, just simply because of when you look at what we do and how low we get, and we look at the information and extrapolate out the metadata, the question becomes, when you have that type of exposure to everything that's traversing the network, do you want to push that out to a public cloud and then bring that back in? And so for us, most of our customers are looking to keep it, within their own network and more of a controlled environment, because we open it up so much and give them such visibility that they don't want that type of information moving out and then coming back in. So, but we do see trend toward the cloud, and there's no technology limitation for why Narus couldn't go deploy in the cloud. It's more of a business limitation with what our customers want.
And what, if you had to classify your customers, when do they come to you? Is it, post-breach? Oh no, now we have to do something. Is there anyone who proactively says, hey, this sounds like a good idea, let's do it, before they've had problems?
Well, I think there's definitely breaches, definitely pique interest. But I think, at this point, I wouldn't say there's been a hard and fast rule. I mean, clearly there's been a lot of attention to cyber in general, and Narus has benefited from that, the same as other, great companies have as well. But I think for us, they come to us when they think about data analytics, and the question is, what does that mean? And understanding how you design and build that type of software product. Today, most companies' definitions, or the industry's definition of data analytics, is just a visual representation of maybe the same information but done differently. It's not really correlating the information at lower levels to present answers. And so I think with our product, we're looking to present answers. It's not only about time to resolution, it's presenting answers that are actionable so you can make decisions quicker. And that's really the core of everything that we do. We have a number of machine learning initiatives that we build into our software product, and they're all with that same vein of how do you accelerate time to resolution. I think there's no question that everyone is going to deal with some hack or some breach at some time. There's no such, to think that you're not would be naive, and that's just the way it's going, particularly with borderless networks. So the real question is, what's the time to resolution? How quickly did you do something about it? Today, the industry often talks about how many attacks did I prevent? It's really the wrong question. The question is, how fast did I respond to the problem and resolve it?
Yep. On the time to resolution issue, it seems like we're rapidly approaching the era where the attackers move away from kind of this manual, send a spear phishing email with an attached malware to a PDF and get somebody's credentials on one machine and then move across the network and then extract data. So it's like there's a time frame to it that gives you all this opportunity to detect it and stop it. What happens sometime in the near future when it's a totally autonomous attack, Stuxnet-like, that goes in, does its job, gets out, and maybe you only have minutes to respond?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And again, I think that's one that Narus also thinks about. I mean, most data transversing through the network looks like just HTTP. People don't know necessarily what the applications are. We all know that mobile is one of the biggest security threats that we have. BYOD, right? People have applications on their mobile device. But how do you actually identify those applications? To your point, someone slips in the network and they're in and out real quick. Well, what if every time they slipped in the network, you knew what the application was? They're slipping in through the fact that we don't have visibility to what all the applications are. And I think this is where Narus comes in. Our focus and a lot of what we've been developing over the last 5 years in the way of advanced machine learning is on application identification. How do I identify that it's a mobile application and generate that signature and even label that application so I can make decisions. And if it's an unknown application, how do I identify that in real time to allow someone to take action on it? And so this is what we're really focusing on. Is we truly believe that that the explosion of applications across devices that we've yet to even think about. I'm just waiting for the next smart refrigerator with an application on it connecting through someone's iPad and then back to their enterprise network, right? It's going to happen, right? The question starts with visibility and being able to see the applications.
Is Narus working on interfacing with some of the protective tools, the firewalls, the routers, the switches, in order to do the remediation quickly?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. We've had, at the show here, we've announced our relationship with HP. We've also announced our relationship with IBM, and we're working with other partners in the ecosystem as well. I think, and again, this is one of our, being owned by Boeing, our charter can be broader. Our charter is to help the overall ecosystem be successful, and to the extent that we can take the innovations and some of the things that we do on our software platform in the way of application identification or policies and help push that to our ecosystem partners so that their products are better and stronger as well, only creates a better ecosystem for all of us. So it's absolutely a charter for us, and it's broader than just our commercial business. It's looking at cyber as a whole and how do we improve the industry.
Do you think, or can you tell us if Boeing has plans to make more acquisitions, to build out a portfolio?
So, well, that would be short answer, no. But I'd say that Boeing has been great. I've been in Silicon Valley most of my career, and Boeing recognizes that owning a company that's truly trying to innovate at the edge, we need to let them innovate at the edge and help them. And so Boeing helps us where we need help, and is also sensitive to letting us do what we need to do with a nimbleness and a speed to market and decision making, which has been great. So we often talk that at Narus we get the best of both worlds. We get to be a Silicon Valley tech company, and we have an innovation and R&D capability that might sit in a larger organization, and a parent or owner whose charter for addressing and assisting cyber goes beyond just being, making Narus just a successful commercial asset. And so we have a good balance between innovation and commercial. And a good example of that for us is we have a Narus Fellows program with 14 plus different universities. These universities that we partner with do nothing but focus on advanced innovation around machine learning algorithm development, all with an application to cyber. And how do we push the cyber industry forward as a whole? And that's something that, being owned by a private equity firm or a venture firm in the Valley, we wouldn't have the opportunity to do that. And so the size of our data scientists team between what we have at Narus and our partnerships with the universities is significant, over a third of the company. And so innovation's key, and Boeing helps us do that.
Can you speak to the acceptance of the advanced cyber technology that you're deploying in Europe and Asia versus the U.S.?
So, Europe, we've not been as active in Europe recently. Most of our business, we've been in North America. Well, obviously, Brazil, lots of interest with different activity in Brazil. And then Asia is recently picked up quite a bit for us as well. I think it's, for us, we look to stay more focused and move into each market kind of systematically. And Europe is high on our radar, and I think probably later this year, early next year, we'll see more activity in those markets. But today, as we move more and more into the enterprise market, North America and Asia are where we're focused. And part of that is also because we have the contacts. We have Boeing is very helpful to us as well as we move into markets and with their local offices. And so we collaborate closely with Boeing as well when we move into these new markets.
Great. Thanks, John. Appreciate learning about Narus.
Yeah, thank you.